Stand up, New York Giant fans. What's going on, Baddog?
Chris, what is going on? What's going on, everybody in the chat? How we doing this evening? Hope you're doing well. Quick update. Leonard had something come up, so he may not be able to make it tonight. He may come in a little bit later. Just not sure exactly what's going on, but I wasn't going to continuously pester the man. But hopefully he can make it at some time during the show. If not, you still have these two beautiful Italians to listen to over the next 2 hours. But hopefully Leonard can make his way in here and we can talk some football. Leonard Marshall, obviously about the New York Giants. And of course, whenever you talk about Leonard Marshall, you talk about the smack he laid on Joe Montana. So obviously we would talk about that stuff too. But do appreciate you guys, girls, being here. Chris, we're on a 3-game winning streak.
I think soon to be 4, but we'll talk about that throughout the stream. And yeah, I'm sure Leonard's a great guy. I've seen him go on other platforms before. If he doesn't make it tonight, I'm sure he'll come on the show, in another week. So excited to talk about him, whether it be tonight or in the future. But listen, Giants 3-win straight. It's been fun. None of us expected it. We're at 5-8, and we're kind of in the middle now where you're like, well, you're still thinking about the draft, but if they win another game, you get to 6-8, then you're looking at the Eagles and you're saying, well, at this point, we're 6-8. We're not going to be picking top 10 anyway. We're top 8 anyway. Let's try to ruin their season and see if we could maybe go on a bit of a run. So this is a big game. So I'm excited to see how we go, how we stand tall against the New Orleans Saints. But last week, you can no longer say that the Giants are beating up on horrible teams. Packers going into that game had beaten the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving, and then they beat the Kansas City Chiefs the following week. So the Giants defense has been spectacular. 3 straight weeks, they've created 12 turnovers over that 3-week span. They're the driving force behind these wins, but Tommy DeVito has been the fun part of the story.
Yeah, the crazy thing is we were talking about it before we went live, and it's funny, 4 weeks ago, we're talking about maybe getting the number 1 pick in the draft, and Caleb Williams and Drake May and all this stuff, and here we are a month later, and we're 1 game out of the playoffs. That is absolutely insane. And 2 of the teams ahead of us, we play in the next 4 weeks, in the Saints on Sunday and the Rams, 2 weeks from Sunday. So obviously there's the Eagles in between there. I expect the Giants to beat the Saints. The Saints are not a very good team. Their offense is not good at all. And our defense, like you mentioned, has been playing lights out, turning the ball over left and right. I feel like the Saints can be had. Just say they win that game. The real test is going to be Philadelphia. If there was ever a way that the Giants could beat Philadelphia, we haven't won in Philadelphia in 11 years.
Yeah.
If you ever went in there and got to 7-8, then you really have to consider yourself a playoff team, Chris, because the Eagles, no, they're not as good as they were last year, but they're a damn good football team and a football team we haven't been able to beat at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams haven't beaten them in the last 2 years. The Niners beat them. They're the best team in football, in my opinion. The Cowboys beat them. They're the second best team in the NFC, in my opinion. So it's not like they've lost to bad teams.
I just want to get to that game. Obviously, we're not going to be calling on YouTube, but I just want to get to that game with the excitement to watch it on Christmas Day. And if we get killed, we get killed. But if you beat the Saints and you're 6-8, at least on Christmas, you're waking up thinking about, wow, I actually can't wait to watch this game today.
Correct.
So, there's a big game this week. Can they keep it going? Can they win 4 straight? Can they continue to build off this momentum? And hey, you never know. Like we saw it last year, like momentum in football is a real thing. Last year, we strung up a series of wins that nobody expected. This team's starting to believe in themselves. You beat the Saints. Who knows? At least maybe you make it a competitive game. The Eagles, we've talked about it leading up into this past week. Nothing to do with the Giants. The Eagles themselves, their record does not indicate, in my opinion, the level of play that they've put forth this year. They have a plus 21. They haven't blown out anybody. So that's a team that is clearly I think, give most teams they play this year an opportunity to at least keep it close. The Jets beat them, for God's sake. So, week by week, but we got to beat the Saints before that game, has any significance in terms of, playoff ramifications.
Yeah, without question. And the other thing is, a lot of people were getting on DeVito's case about, taking too many sacks. He holds on to the ball too long, trying to make plays on field. Well, this week he was pressured on 48% of his dropbacks, which is one of the highest in the NFL this week.
Yeah.
Took no sacks. Had no sacks. He was able to get out of the pocket. And there was a couple moves he made where he didn't, under pressure, under duress, he didn't roll out of the pocket into a sack. He kind of shifted his body around, moved around, and took off up the middle. There's little things that he does that, good quarterbacks do. Now, he's still a rookie. He's undrafted. He's started 3 games in the NFL, 4 games, I'm sorry. He started 4 games in the NFL, and he's played a total of 6. So obviously there's a lot of growing to do there, but I mean, you definitely see some things, and people can talk about, he hasn't played anybody and they haven't played anybody good. And this, not, but he's winning. I mean, we were 2-8 before this. Were we any good? Like with the Giants, I love when people are like, you didn't beat anybody good, but were the Giants a good team? 2-8. I mean, that's not good. We're not good either. But now he found ways to win games. And the Packers, that was a big game for them, Chris. That was going to keep them in the 7th spot in the playoffs.
And they were playing great going into that game. And the thing that really stands out to me above all else, that like when I'm thinking long term for this football team, is Brian Daboll. The fact that this team had every reason to just mail it in this year. You're 2-8. You're starting your 3rd string quarterback. The whole fan base is talking about getting the first pick in the draft. Like, they had every right to just mail it in, but they didn't. And to me, that speaks volumes about the coach, that the team with a 3rd string quarterback, as banged up as they've been, has gone out there and they've competed and they fought as hard as they possibly could, especially the defense, because the defense got no help the first 2 games of this winning streak, right? We scored 10 points against the Patriots, and they've gone out there and they've given you everything they've had the last 3 weeks. I think that says a lot about Brian Daboll.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about tanking and you need to lose outright and, all this stuff. But again, I think the fact that you're 2-8 and they are playing hard for Coach Daboll, I think that says a lot because, in my opinion, they quit on Joe Judge. They quit on Ben McAdoo. I don't know if they ever quit on Pat Shurmur. I just don't think Pat Shurmur was a really good coach. But they have not quit on Coach Daboll, and it would have been easy to mail it in. Oh, you're down to your 3rd string quarterback. He's an undrafted guy. Nobody expects anything. You could easily tank. Go, with the hell with this. We just want to. We're not going to win games. We're not going to go out there. We're not going to give 100% effort. We're going to lose, and we'll get a quarterback. That's not what they're doing, and they'll never do that because it looks bad if you're a professional athlete. I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? I've said this, and I still am this way. I'm indifferent. If they win, good. Make a playoff push. If they lose, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to get agitated either way. But there's just no way a player is going to not give 100% effort. 2 reasons for that. Number one, they're playing for their job. They're professionals. So, right, exactly. The big man move, right? If you dog it, other teams ain't going to want to sign you. But number 2, there's a lot of guys in this team that ain't going to be here next year. They don't give a shit about the Giants draft pick. They don't care about the Giants draft pick next year. They don't care about that. That's not their problem. So why are they going to sit there and go, well, I'll mail it in. I'm not going to be here next year, and I'll mail it in. I'm going in for free agency. I'm going to dog it so I don't get a contract.
Nobody's going to pick it. At the end of the day, tanking in the NFL is fantasy land. Are there teams when a year starts that may go in with the mission of we're developing and they don't go above and beyond to try to put the best team on the field? Sure, that does happen. But the players themselves and the coaches are not going to coach games and play games to lose. It's a ridiculous mindset that fans think that it's realistic. Now, fans that want the team to lose, I understand you want a better draft pick, but no team is ever going to tank in the NFL. Maybe the last week of the season, we saw what the Eagles did. Maybe the general manager forces the coach to do something like that. But we're talking middle of the year. That's not happening. These guys are playing for contracts next year. These guys are playing for their livelihood. The funniest thing to me was, and I've said it during the stretch, when the Giants were 2-8, people, I'm not saying a lot of people, but there was a small group of people who were starting to call for Brian Daboll to be fired.
Yeah.
And then when they win, those same people complain that they're winning to hurt the draft pick. So at the end of the day, you coach and play to win football games. That's how you keep your job. So it's silly to get mad at a team for not tanking because it's just not realistic.
Yeah, without question. They're not going to do this. If you're a professional athlete, you didn't get this far by quitting. And remember the big knock on Kayvon coming, he takes plays off. So they get mad. The fans get mad at, he takes plays off. He dogs it. You don't want him on the team. He takes a play off. But these same people want the whole team to take the whole game off and tank. Come on. I mean, think about that for a minute. I don't want to draft him because supposedly he takes plays off. But I want the whole team the last 9 or 7 games of the year just to throw in the towel, not try, dog it, whatever. Carl Banks said it best. I understand. Listen, I'm not going to get on somebody and say they're not a fan. I know I hear you're not a fan of rooting for them to lose. I'm not saying that at all, but he has a good point. The best, Carl Banks said, if you have the mentality, he doesn't agree with that mentality, but what he's saying is if that happens again next year, if they lose the first 4 games, all of a sudden you're tanking. Like you're never happy.
Basically what he says was you're never going to be satisfied until you have a Pat Mahomes. and you have a Super Bowl contending team every year, which is just not realistic. Most teams don't get that. And he's right. People that think that way are always going to think that way when the team gets off to a slow start. It is what it is. I refuse to think that way. I'm not going to bash people for thinking that way. I understand the logic behind it, but I don't understand how anybody could get upset at a team for winning. I could understand you being like, well, I wish they lost. I wanted a higher draft pick. But you can't get mad at the team. You can't get mad at the players for going out there and trying to do their job. And that's just my mindset on the situation.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Like I said, you can be upset that I wanted a better pick, but how can you scream and yell at your team for winning? Like, why are we fans of the team? You cheer for them to win. Well, they're winning now. Yeah. And listen, I wanted Caleb Williams. I'm not gonna lie. I still want a quarterback. Like somebody on Twitter said to me, I thought you were on the tank train. I said, I was never on the tank train. I was on the I'm indifferent train. I still want a quarterback. Like I'm on that train. Yeah. I still want them to take a quarterback. But if they don't get one, they don't get one. I'm not going to sit here and kill Joe Shane. People keep saying, well, they're not going to get a quarterback. Joe Shane, if he wants a quarterback, will get the quarterback. His job is to build a winner. Whether he believes that is, I have to trade all the way up here to get Drake May or Caleb Williams or whoever it is. If I can sit back and take Michael Penix if he lands here, or if I don't take a quarterback at all and I decide I'm going to go Rome Odunze or a lineman, which I don't want another lineman in the top 10. I can tell you that. But if that's what he thinks is best, I have to give him more than 2 years. Gave Gettleman 4. Yeah. I can't sit here and kill Joe Shane. His draft picks, for the most part, have been good. People kill Joe Shane because of Evan Neal. But Kayvon Thibodeau has been a beast. Deontay Banks is one of the best cornerbacks in the league as a rookie. Jalen Hyatt has shown amazing flashes of brilliance. JMS is pretty damn good when he's in there. Micah McFadden is on, 5th round pick out of Indiana. Cordell Flott,
How about Tommy DeVito? How about Tommy DeVito? How about Tommy DeVito?
Right. Tommy DeVito.
I mean, I know it's like a running joke at this point, but it's not easy, regardless of who you are, to win 3 straight games in the NFL at the quarterback position, no matter who you're going up against, especially with the surrounding cast he's had. I'm not saying he's a starter, but even if Tommy DeVito ends up being a good backup for the next 5 to 10 years for this team, that's a great find for an undrafted free agent. How about Isaiah Hodgins? Like he's had some good hits. Obviously the Evan Neal one, not so much.
And that's the one people want to zone in on. But he's done a good job in the draft so far, and he has not had an opportunity to really build this team. This year coming up is a big one. A lot of the Gettleman contracts are done. A lot of the Gettleman players are gone. Yeah. And it's going to be Joe Shane's guys now. And he's going to have some cap maneuverability. Finally, $35 to $40 million. He's been cap stricken since he took this job. So I have full faith in Joe Shane. If he's supposed to be the GM, if he's going to be the guy, we have to trust him. Whatever the hell we're picking, that he's going to figure out what he wants and what he values most. And if that's a quarterback and he feels that he needs to trade way up and give up picks, like when Kansas City traded up 17 spots to get Pat Mahomes,
of course.
If he feels and he's going to say, you know what, I say the Giants are picking 13th, and he says, I'm going to go up to 7th, and I'm going to get rid of my first round pick next year, and I want Jaden Daniels. Yeah. If that happens, you
roll it. You say, all right, let's roll it. Let's hope he's the guy.
And if he doesn't, he doesn't. Let me get to a couple of these super chats really quick. Johnny, thank you for the super chat. He says, Stella to you guys. Welcome. Unfortunately, like I said, Leonard had something come up, so I don't know if he's going to make it. Hopefully he does, but I don't know if he's going to make it or not.
We'll get him back on another time. He'll be back.
Yeah. I said, I was in contact with him for a couple of weeks, so I still have the contact there, which is a good thing. He says, I'm a diehard Eagles fan. What game against my Eagle? Oh, well, yeah, obviously I can't ask him that because he's not here. My Eagles, that you played that haunts you is Eric Allen. Well, Eric Allen should be a Hall of Famer without question.
Yeah, and the game that haunts us as fans, but yeah, like Baddog says, we can't answer that question for him. But for me, it's always going to be the Miracle at the Meadowlands Part 2 for me.
Yeah, that was bad. Well, Leonard wasn't part of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But even back then, even though as good as the Giants were, Eagles always gave them a damn issue. W7, thank you for super chat. He says, I was at the Giants Packers game with my cousin. Lid.
That's awesome.
I'm sure it was awesome. I'm sure that was awesome. I'm sure it's awesome. Big Moo. And super chat. DeVito Mania is making football fun again.
Is that what they're calling it now? DeVito Mania? Is that?
I said that at the beginning.
Oh, you're the one who said it. That's right.
Yeah, I said it right at the beginning of the stream. DeVito Mania.
Listen, it's definitely been a welcomed addition for sure. This year was down in the dumps, and now you got something to look forward to. The underdog. Who doesn't love an underdog? Everybody loves an underdog, right? So it's been fun. Hopefully, he keeps it up.
Of course. I mean, yeah, people are like, oh, I'm getting sick of them, playing up the Italian thing. I'm Italian. I find it amusing. However, when I see Art Stapleton on Twitter say, Tommy DeVito's dog's name is Rocky, and it's not named after Balboa. He's got a cousin named Danny, or an uncle named Danny, but no, not that. I'm like, it's a little much, Art. What the hell kind of journalism is that? My reaction was just this emoji. My God, like I love what Tommy DeVito's doing. Yeah, I play up the whole Italian thing. I'm Italian, but good God, I don't need to know his dog's name and his uncle's name or his cousin having a name Danny or my cousin Vinny. Maybe he's got a cousin Vinny, but he's not Joe Pesci. But Joe Pesci played Tommy DeVito in the movie Goodfellas, and you can have the 6 degrees of separation like Kevin Bacon and all this other stuff.
You know what I think makes this wear off is if he gets to a point where people actually start taking him seriously. Like if he gets to a point where people are like, this guy could actually be a real legitimate starter in the NFL, then I think people stop treating it like a gimmick. But
yeah,
I'm with you. It's going to get old fast. It's fun in the moment, but it's going to get old fast.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase will wear off.
Yeah.
Bobby from Talking Giants said, he's like, I watched the thing and it seemed like Tommy was getting, a little sick of the Italian questions. I mean, maybe I didn't get that out of it, but he might be getting sick of it at this point. But as I said, if he is getting sick of it, he's got to tell his agent to dress a little bit more casually.
Yeah, I agree. It's not.
You got to dress a little bit more casually if you know.
Listen, and I love Tommy. I love everybody who plays for the Giants. And but let's be fair, Tommy's playing into it. His agent, him, his dad. Yeah, I mean, the guy goes to a game last week. He looks like a flamingo.
Right.
Like he's definitely playing into it a little bit. But
of course,
it is what it is. It comes with the territory. He's having fun with it. It's his 15 minutes of fame. Hopefully, it becomes 15 years of fame. Hopefully
that'd be amazing. Listen, you never know. You never know. Drew Bledsoe is supposed to be more talented than Tom Brady. I'm not saying Tommy DeVito's Tom Brady, but how did Tom Brady get out there? Drew Bledsoe got hurt. How did Tony Romo get out there? Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Isn't that funny? How did Brock Purdy get out there?
Trey Lance got hurt.
And Trey Lance got hurt. right? And
Yep.
the Patriots did not draft Tom Brady going, hey, this is a guy that's going to win 6 Super Bowls for us and be the greatest quarterback in the history of football. And I'm sure San Francisco didn't draft Brock Purdy going, this is a guy that's going to win a Super Bowl for us.
He was the last pick in the draft. If they liked Brock Purdy that much, he would have went long before that.
Exactly. Tony Romo, granted, they didn't win any playoff games. He might have won 1 playoff game. I don't know if Romo won.
I think he won 1. I think he won 1.
But still, every year Dallas was a very good team.
He was a top 10 quarterback for about 8 years, and he was undrafted.
Yeah, right. Out of Eastern Illinois. And I'm pretty sure Dallas took him going, didn't think, oh, this guy's going to be the starter for 10 years and be a borderline Hall of Famer, maybe even a Hall of Famer. Yeah. So my point is, I'm not saying Tommy DeVito is going to be Brady or Brock Purdy or Tony Romo or any of those guys, but you never know. You don't know. If the Giants did shore up their offensive line and they did get a guy like Romo Dunze and they did build around him, who's to say he can't do it?
I won't rule it out.
You don't know.
I won't expect it or predict it.
But like I said, who expected Tom Brady to do what he did? When he's drafted 199.
I just took the words out of my mouth. That was the next guy I was going to bring up. Again, not comparing them to any of these quarterbacks.
Right.
Kurt Warner was working at a grocery store. He was playing in the XFL. So things happen in the NFL, especially like you said, if you could build up the team properly. Again, I am far from the point where I'm like, I don't want to try to find our eventual long-term quarterback, whether it be this year or the next year, whatever. But ride it out. We got 4 more weeks to see how we could do.
Yeah.
Have fun with
it. Yeah, I don't that's I don't know. But it has been. I mean, I know a lot of fans want to tank. I know a lot of fans want the quarterback. I get it. But when you call the games like Chris and I do every week, or you watch the games every week, I know that I have a hard time watching games where they lose 49-17 to Dallas and 30-6 to the Raiders. Like, it's difficult for me to stomach that and waste 3.5 hours and watch them get killed. So while this is dropping their draft pick or lowering their draft pick, I still enjoy watching them win. It's a lot more fun to me to call a game where they're winning it as opposed to they're out of it in the third quarter.
And if we're being honest, Baddog, they were never going to get the first pick. They would never.
No.
Their defense is too good. They were always going to win at least 4 or 5 games. They were never going to get the first pick. Might end up with a top 5 pick, but they were never getting the first pick.
Right. Yeah. And if Joe Shane wants to get his guy, if it's that important to him, he'll find a way. He'll find a way. Yeah. But then, it's funny because I'm telling you, man, say we're picking, like you said, 13th, and he moves up to 6th or 5th or 4th. Say he moves up to 4th, okay? Yeah. And he gives up 2 first-round draft picks. Mm-hmm. People go, oh, he gave up too much. Oh, my God, he gave up too much. Like,
you can't make everybody happy. That's the moral of the story.
This day and age, it seems like it's hard to make anybody happy.
That's also true. Yes.
And that's why I just kind of stopped. That's why I just became kind of indifferent about they win. If they lose, they lose. I can't control it. But what I've gone into this stretch looking at is I got to believe Joe Shane will make the right decisions, right? That's what the GM's for.
At the end of the day, Baddog, the way I look at it is it's not a 1-year process for me. Would I like the golden arm quarterback? Of course. But at the end of the day, if Joe Shane does his job, we're going to end up being a good team no matter how we go about doing it. There's multiple ways to build a football team. If Joe Shane does his job and drafts properly and does not overcommit on insane contracts and, which he does not appear to be doing. He's been diligent with the way that he's smart. He seems like a smart guy, at least. Seems like he has a plan. He is not going above and beyond with these contracts in terms of commitment. If he drafts well, maybe you may not get that Pat Mahomes. That doesn't mean you can't build a good football team. So it's a multi-year process for me. If Joe Shane's a good GM, we're going to get out of this eventually. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's got to hit on the draft picks.
Right. Quarterback's the most important position without question.
Yeah.
But there's 52 other guys in the team. So,
yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, you look at the Chargers, they got the golden arm quarterback, but they got nothing else and they can't win. So you got it. It's a 53-man sport. So, it is what it is.
The good GMs find ways to build a good 53-man roster, a balanced team. The great ones end up with a balanced team and a great quarterback like Kansas City. And that's how you win, or the Patriots. That's how you win multiple Super Bowls, or even the Giants back when Eli was here, or Sims. They were great all around. Well, maybe the offense was different in the 80s. Like it's not run the way it is now, but it still was built with a great offensive line and a great running game with Joe Morris, and that's what they did. And then in 1990 it was Otis Anderson and Rodney Hampton. But then you go back to 2007, you had Brandon Jacobs, you had Ahmad Bradshaw. 2008 was one of the best teams I've ever seen, maybe the best team I've ever seen, until Plaxico Burress shot himself. And they had two 1,000-yard backs, and Ahmad Bradshaw, they all averaged over 5 yards carry. As a team, the Giants averaged 5 yards carry because their offensive line was sick. Their defense was gross. It was amazing.
Let me ask you another question, Baddog. Who's the 3 quarterbacks this year that have been talked about the most in terms of the MVP conversation? Who's the 3 quarterbacks?
Jalen Hurts. Well, Pat Mahomes is always there.
He's not. In
Lamar Jackson.
I forgot about Lamar. Okay. I was going to say Purdy.
Dak and Jalen Hurts.
I was going to say Purdy, Dak, and Hurts. They've consistently been in the top 3 or 4 throughout the whole year.
Hurts has to fall now.
And I don't think many people would look at any of those quarterbacks and be like, that's a super level talent quarterback. No, none of them make your jaw drop. Like when you watch Pat Mahomes, your jaw drops. When you watch Josh Allen, your jaw drops. When you watch Herbert, your jaw drops at times. None of those quarterbacks have got unbelievable.
Joe Burrow is another one. You watch Joe Burrow.
Superhero abilities, in my opinion. Not taking anything away from them. But what it tells me is those teams built a team that could make their quarterback look like a superhero. There's multiple ways to build a football team. I don't think Brock Purdy, if he's playing on the Giants, is going to look like Brock Purdy. I don't think the same thing for Dak, and they're good quarterbacks. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they're not superheroes. But they look like superheroes because they have a great team. There's multiple ways to build a football team.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, Dak was drafted in the 4th round. Again, he was there because, well, they had a bad year before because Romo got hurt, and they were able to take Zeke Elliott, and then Romo got hurt again, and then Dak had to take over, and Dallas was already really good. They had a bad year the year before, but they were a really good team before that, so they were kind of already built. The Eagles said Jalen Hurts, and I'm pretty sure nobody said, we're drafting Jalen Hurts, going to take us to a Super Bowl, especially when they had just given Wentz a contract. He was there to be a backup. That's really what he was drafted for. And hey, if Wentz gets hurt, we got a guy that can step in and do it. But I don't think that – I saw Eagles fans' draft reactions to it. They didn't even understand it. Yeah. So my point, again, I'm not saying that Tommy DeVito will be any of those quarterbacks, and he may never win another game in the NFL again, but you just don't know. It just goes to show you don't always need a quarterback drafted in the top 5 to win a Super Bowl or to be a really good quarterback, to be a really good team. And at the same token, just drafting in the top 5 doesn't mean you're going to get a great quarterback, because we've seen many of them fail. And I always use the Jets as an example because they've had 3 top 5 draft picks that they've taken a quarterback since 2009 when they took Sanchez. So the last 15 years, the Jets have drafted 3 quarterbacks in the top 5, and none of them have been any good. None of them. So
there's no perfect answer. And I'm team quarterback. If we're picking top 2, 3, 4, it's the most important position. But if we're not, there's multiple ways to build a football team. You never force a quarterback pick. There's multiple ways to build a football team. That's all I'm saying. For the people that are upset that the Giants aren't going to be picking top 2, top 3. It is what it is. We'll see at the end of the year what Joe Schoen feels is the best course of action. But if they don't draft a quarterback this year, or if they draft a developmental quarterback in the mid to late rounds, I'm okay with that. If it means they keep building their football team, the last thing I want them to do is force a pick just because they feel like they need a quarterback. You don't just take a quarterback to take one.
Yeah, you got to be sold on one, because otherwise, if you do that, you set your franchise back. And that's the whole thing. You can't screw around and go out. We'll just wait for the quarterback to fall. Because if you really want him, you got to go up and get him. That's just the way it is. And that's what a good GM is going to do. And he's going to find a way to get the players that he wants. Yeah. But if this price is too steep, or you can't, find somebody to trade with you, then you got to have a different course of action. And that's the GM. They have to measure out all the scenarios.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get this guy here or this guy here. They don't want to trade. They want this. They want that. I don't want to give up that. And all right, that's not going to work. Let's try this scenario. Well, nobody's going to trade. What if we get this? What if this guy's? That's what they do. That's their job. We can sit here and speculate all we want. We don't do this for a living.
The 49ers are literally a perfect example of this discussion. The 49ers give up 3 first-round picks to draft Trey Lance, and they drafted Brock Purdy with the last pick in the entire draft. And the guy who worked out for them was Purdy. And it just goes to show you it's a crapshoot. And a lot of it has to do with the surrounding talent and how they fit in your scheme. And there's no perfect science. You get a top 2 or 3 pick, there are no guarantees. Like you said, the Jets been picking top 5 for years, taking quarterbacks. Browns for years. They didn't set those quarterbacks up for success. That's just it's a combination of both. You obviously need talent there, but you also need to be able to set that guy up to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, look at Bryce Young. I mean, he's awful this year. He may be awful his whole career. He may not be. And then you look at CJ Stroud and what he's been able to do with a team that won 3 games last year. So
I see him saying, Chris, we're not the Niners. Stop this narrative. It's nasty. I'm not implying we're the Niners. I'm not implying that we're the Niners.
We're not close to
what I am implying, Ayub, is we should strive to be.
Right.
We should strive to be.
Right.
That's the top of the top. Just because you're not them now doesn't mean you can't be them in 3 or 4 years if you draft properly.
Right. And that's what you have to do. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like I said, look at the draft picks Joe Shane has had. Evan Neal has not been good. Let's just call it what it is. Okay. He's been bad.
Yeah.
Most of his picks look pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Azudu, that didn't work. McKeith and what, they've been hurt or whatever, but those are 4th and 5th round picks. Daniel Bellinger looks pretty good for a 4th rounder.
I think
so there, he's because not no GM's getting 100%. Every one of your draft picks ain't hitting. This is not but I think Joe Shane's percentage of having draft picks that have been good contributors and like playmakers, not just contributors, but playmakers, pretty good. Some pretty good. Yeah. Jax, thank you for becoming a member, brother. Appreciate it. Welcome to the dog pound, my man. Much appreciated. Big Daddy, thank you for the super chat. He says, I haven't given up on Evan Neal. He's very young. I haven't given up on him either, but he's got to get better, man. He's got to stay healthy.
I haven't given up on him either. I don't want to use the term I haven't given up, but I've lowered my expectations. I still think he could be potentially a good tackle in the NFL. I think I'm at the point now where I don't think he'll ever be what Andrew Thomas is now. I don't think he'll be that. But I'm okay with that. I said that after we drafted him. If he even ends up being an average right tackle, the pick's fine. If you get a 10-year answer at the right tackle spot that's an average starting right tackle in the league, that's an okay pick for me. So I still think he could be that, and I hope he becomes that because we need it. Yeah,
agreed. Jax, thank you for super chat. Appreciate you. Who do you think wins the national championship? Gut feeling, Michigan. I'm rooting for Washington though, but my gut is Michigan.
I'm rooting for Michigan. I've always loved Harbaugh. That's why.
Yeah.
But my gut feeling is actually Alabama. I just feel like they got in. They got
Saban, man. I mean, that's all you need.
Saban. I have a feeling. I'm rooting for Michigan. I think it's going to be an unbelievable game. I think Bama's going to win. They're my pick to win the playoffs. I think Bama.
I don't really trust Milroe. So I don't know. I think Bama can be had, but I'm definitely
they could. But Bama's only loss this year was week 1, and
to Texas.
They just seem like they're hot right now. But Michigan's obviously been hot all year. So
is Washington. I mean, they beat Oregon twice. So
all right. Make your pick right now. Give me your champion. So you're going Michigan, and who you picking in the other game?
Alabama in the other game. That's
Alabama's playing Michigan.
Okay. Michigan. So Washington.
It's Texas, Washington.
Washington beats Texas. And then I think Michigan beats Washington.
I'm going Alabama, Texas. Alabama, Texas is my final.
Where the hell is the freaking thing? I forgot what day they played. Go down here. This is the 31st. Like they always seem like they play the 31st.
Yeah, they played the 31st. I'm pretty sure last year they did anyway, the playoffs.
No, January 1st.
They're playing
New
the
Year's
playoffs on
Day.
New Year's Day this year.
New Year's Day.
I
Yeah.
like that. That's better. But
So it's a Monday.
usually they do it on the that makes sense because NFL's on Sunday. Okay,
Yeah, well, the Rose Bowl is always on January 1st. So
makes sense.
Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl. And then I think the championship is a week after it. Yeah. I think Michigan's going to beat Alabama.
I hope they do. I would love to see Harbaugh win a national championship. I think, as we said last week, I think Harbaugh's leaving after this year, no matter what. So
Washington,
I'd like to see him win one this year.
Chicago, Washington.
Yeah, I think he would take the Bears job only if they allow him to draft a quarterback. I don't think he would take it.
I think the Bears are drafting a quarterback.
I'm leaning they are, and they probably.
And it's not because I don't think they think Fields is a bust. I'm just thinking to myself, well, Fields hasn't won anything. Yeah. Let's be honest. People can say Fields is this, Fields is that, but he hasn't won shit. I mean, the Bears have been one of the worst teams in the league. He's shown signs, but he's extremely inconsistent. And he's on a bad team, but a better team could probably use him. But the point is, Chicago could get a Caleb Williams and not have to pay Caleb Williams' second contract. That's why I think the Bears move on from Justin Fields, because they say, well, we can just start the rookie clock over again with a quarterback, and then Fields can go sign somewhere else.
And
or they can trade him.
You could trade Fields and get a first-round pick for him. Probably late first-round pick, but you get like the Steelers, for example. They're a team that might feel, okay, with our team, he's an improvement over Pickett. Maybe we could do that's a team that could make sense because they're going to be picking late enough, right? So I do see an opportunity to trade him, get a late first-round pick. And if you commit to Fields, like if they don't draft a quarterback this year, you might as well just give Fields $60 million a year. Like you're going to have to pay him an exorbitant amount of money. And for me, if I'm the Bears, I restart the rookie clock with a quarterback who I feel is better than Fields anyway. If I have the opportunity to take Caleb Williams. So I agree with you. That's what I would do. And I would trade Fields and get a mid to late first round pick. That's what I would do. But maybe not. Maybe they say to themselves, we believe in Fields. Let's trade down from 1 to 3, get him over to Harrison Jr., get future draft cap. So they could go either way, but I'm with you. In the end, I think they'll go quarterback.
Yeah. Toasty, thank you for the super chat. He says for Leonard, it was probably the 88 game against the Eagles. I don't remember the 88 games against the Eagles. Unless we're talking about the Jets game. That was a killer. That last game against the Jets, and the Giants had everything to play for, and the Jets had nothing to play for. And Altoon caught a touchdown like 25 seconds ago, and the Giants lost to the Jets. Yeah, I remember that one vividly. Ernie, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. If Tommy plays well to finish the year and Danny can't start next year, Tommy goes 2-0 or 2-1 before Danny is ready. You think Danny gets the job back? I was actually going to do, well, I'll probably do more videos about this. I was going to do a video about this now, but I'll probably save it for next year. Listen, I'm going to say this right now. I don't know what Tommy DeVito is going to do the rest of the year. I don't know what the Giants are going to do in the offseason. They don't take a quarterback, and the Giants go into the year with DeVito and Jones. It's quarterback competition. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. Brian Daboll has already proven. Don't care where you were drafted. Don't care how much you get paid. Best guys going out there and playing. Chris, how many guys got made? Oh, the Giants are tanking. They don't start Tyrod Taylor. They start Tommy DeVito. They're tanking. Right?
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor may be better quarterback. He might not be. But we know what he is. We don't really know what Tommy DeVito is. We know Tyrod's not coming back. So DeVito beat him out. Tyrod can be mad about it. He got hurt. That happens. Ask Wally Pipp. He got hurt. He never saw the field again because Lou Gehrig played 2,130 games in a row. So you don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I can't answer that question yet until I see how he plays throughout the rest of the year. Like if he completely bombs the last 4 weeks, then you say to yourself, okay, well, if they don't draft the quarterback, Jones is going to start more than likely. But if he finishes the year strong and he looks good in training camp, I do think you certainly don't just hand Daniel Jones the job. And if Daniel Jones does win it out of camp and he struggles, I think they would have a quick hook because DeVito has shown that at that point, if he finishes the year strong, that he's capable of being a guy that could win you football games. Maybe not being an elite quarterback, but a guy that could win you football games.
Right.
So, I don't think if I had to guess right now, if we weren't drafting a first-round quarterback, which I'm probably slightly leaning towards we won't at this point, still close to 50-50. But if we don't draft the first-round quarterback, I would lean that Jones will be the starter to start the year if he's healthy. But it's not a lock anymore. And if he does to start the year, it is far from a lock that he maintains the job for more than 4 or 5 weeks if he's not playing well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Peter, thank you for the super chat. Says Antonio Pierce will be hired long-term by the Raiders. If Wink leaves, and I hope he doesn't, and Pierce is there, bring him in as DC. I don't think Wink's going anywhere. I think this defense has really stepped up. And yeah, I think the defense likes Wink a lot. And I think that perhaps after that whole Raiders and Cowboys debacle where the defense looked like it quit, this is probably when all this crap started, all these rumblings started happening. You saw the defense turn it on. I think they like Wink. And I like Wink. And I think that, again, Wink said it best. He goes, when you're 8-4, he goes, it's the same as it was last year. The locker room is the same as it was last year. The whatever. The coaches, they interact the same way as it was last year. But he said, when you're 8-4, you don't talk about it. When you're 4-8, this is what you talk about. And I understand that. He's been in the league 20 years. He gets it. He's not a young guy. He's a veteran. He knows how this goes. He's been around, like I said, 2 decades. And I think he's coming back, Chris. I think this defense is really
there was definitely a point in time before this winning and that, for the people that are tank people, if you want to look for bright spots, that's one of them. I think the fact that this team has played well now the last 3 weeks has probably saved Wink his job, because I do think it was trending towards, even though we may not have agreed with it, if the team continued to lose, they were probably going to fire Wink. I no longer think that's the case. The defense has played too well. They're starting to win games. So I think that is one really good thing that's come out of it. I think the coaching staff will probably stay intact. As a matter of fact, I think Kafka will probably be back too. I think the coaching staff will remain intact. Obviously, they'll fire the O-line. Good chance they fire the O-line coach, special teams coordinator. But I think the OC and DC now stand a very good chance of coming back next year.
Yep, agreed. Ayub, thank you for super chat. Says, I get it, but DeVito fandom is nasty. Go get a quarterback. Listen, I agree about getting a quarterback. I want a quarterback. I like I said, I'm still on that train, but the DeVito story is fun. And Giants fans haven't had a lot of fun in the last decade, especially this year. We had higher expectations, at least I did, going into the year. We'd won a playoff game last year. You draft Jalen Hyatt, you draft John Michael Schmitz, you add Darren Waller, you bring Barkley back, Jones is coming off a career season pretty much, and they believe in Jones enough to give him another contract, and you're thinking second year under the system, you expect them to be better. You didn't expect them maybe to not a Super Bowl championship team or a team that's going to 13 games, but you expected them to be able to beat Seattle. You expect them to be able to compete with the Dallas Cowboys, and they didn't compete either game. So, it's been a rough season, and this is just a fun story. This is a guy that was not expected to do anything. This is a guy that didn't even make the team out of training camp. And this is a guy that everybody else had a chance to get and passed on him. Yeah. So, and the other thing is he's a local kid. He's 9 minutes from the stadium, or 9 miles. Yeah. He's like literally right there. So, it's fun. Oh, yeah, I get it, man. Listen, it's over the top, Ayub. It's New York, baby. That's what it is. This is a big market. They actually asked Tommy DeVito, do you think it would be like this if he was in another place? Like if you played for Tennessee, I think, or so. And he said, I don't know, but there's no question it wouldn't be. If Tommy DeVito was playing for the freaking Buccaneers and they were bad and he won 3 in a row, it ain't going to be the way it is in New York.
It would be a story, but it wouldn't be like this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Brock Purdy should have went through a Super Bowl last year, but he got hurt.
Yeah.
Is there Brock Purdy mania all over ESPN? No. Was there? Right. No. And he played in San Fran. It's not like California's a small market, but there wasn't the fanfare for Brock Purdy like there is DeVito. There's just
it's New York. Because DeVito, we saw the same thing with Lynn. The same thing happened.
Right. Right. You know why? Because it's New York, and the Knicks were really bad when Linsanity took over, and for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he was the king of New York, right? Yeah. Because we do it bigger than anybody. That is the New York market. And Tommy DeVito, you look at Tommy DeVito, and you're like, he's one of us. He's one of us. He's a guy who lives with his mom and dad still. He's still a kid. Was he 22, 23? He still lives with his mom and dad. He's undrafted. Right. He grew up here. You watch Man's question. He doesn't seem fazed by anything. You just look at him. You're like that. He just looks like you're like, I could be Tommy DeVito. That's what you look at like Joe Burrow and you're like, I can't be Joe Burrow. I can't be Josh Allen. I can't be Mahomes. But like, I can relate to DeVito because DeVito just seems like a normal guy that's doing incredible things.
Yeah.
So that's why the fanfare. But hey, it will. Listen, if he continues to win, it's going to continue to go up. And even DeVito said, when you're winning, they love you. When you're not, it's different. He knows he's from this area. He knows how the fans are.
Yeah.
He gets it. Yeah. So he loses a couple games. Well, he's not going to go undefeated, right? Yeah. In his career. Hopefully the rest of the year, that'd be fantastic. If he beats the Eagles, forget about it. I might go get me a DeVito jersey at that point. I don't care if he never wins another game in his life. But I get it. Michael, thank you for the super chat. He says, hope you win big because I want Dennis Allen fired. Yeah, the Saints have really fallen on hard times. I do think the Giants are going to win only because your offense is not good. Chris Olave is really good.
I think we're going to win too. It's going to be a close game, but
it'll be ugly.
I think we're going to win.
13,
I'm with you. I think we're going to win that game. I really do.
New Orleans is like a 6.5 point favorite, though. They're a big favorite.
I mean, so was Green Bay this past week. So I don't know. I just have a feeling we're going to win this week.
I do too.
Yeah,
I had a feeling I didn't think we'd win last week, but I thought it'd be close.
Yeah, I had the same. I thought it would be a game that we definitely could win. I think I should feel the same way this week. It's a game we definitely can. Like, I'm confident we can win this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I went out and bought a lottery ticket. I didn't win because remember I predicted the Pinnock pick when it happened. Like I said, I could see Pinnock intercepting it, and he did. Like the next play. And then in the middle of third quarter, when the Giants were up 14-10 or whatever it was, you said, what do you think the final score is? And I said, I think it's Giants going to win 24-22. And that's exactly what because Green Bay misses a 2-point conversion.
That's true. You did.
What I said. So I was like, I got to go play the lottery. And I didn't win, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd be doing this show from a beach someplace. First of all, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Do you think DeVito could win Jones' job? Yeah, I'm a little behind on the super chats. So you probably just heard it. Yeah. If he, like Chris said, if he finishes this year strong and he goes into the, it's just Jones and DeVito and they don't draft a quarterback. Absolutely.
I think, that's I got to see the next 4 weeks, but yeah, like if he has a strong finish, I do think they're not handing Jones the job. I don't think. I think it would be Jones would be the favorite if he was healthy, but even if he did get it out of camp, he would have a short leash. Jones would be replaced if he was not playing well. Nothing to do with injuries. If DeVito finishes strong and Jones starts the way he did this year for the first 4 or 5 weeks, DeVito's coming in. That's if this is all dependent on if DeVito plays well and they don't draft the first-round quarterback. But yes, I could foresee a scenario where they don't roll out the red carpet for Daniel Jones next year.
Right. Toasty, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. The botch field goal. I didn't know that was 1988. I get them all confused. I don't know which year the Viasekahima punching the bag was. And I don't think it was botched, right? It was blocked, and Clyde Simmons picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown in overtime. That's the game you're talking about. I remember that. Yeah. The Giants block a kick, and Clyde Simmons picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. That was insane. That's the type of crap that happens. And I don't know. I don't remember what game it was where Carl Banks had Randall Cunningham dead, and somehow Cunningham escaped and threw a touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone. The Eagles always do some. I'm telling you, maybe Tommy DeVito's got the Maloika, and he's just going to reverse this curse we have against this team. You don't know. There's something special about what's going on right now, at least for the last month. We got a better record than the Eagles doing the last month. Listen, we haven't lost, Giants fans, we ain't lost a game in a month.
It's true. That's crazy.
Haven't lost a game in a month.
It's kind of the reverse of last year, right?
I was just going to say that, yes. Except for last year, we weren't getting our face beat in the way we did this year.
Yeah.
There was a couple of really, really bad. Those 2 games against the Cowboys were horrendous. The Raiders game, for the life of me, I don't get. The Raiders are weird. You said they were up 21-0 against the Chargers. They lost 3-0 last week
to Minnesota. Yeah,
they beat us 30-6. Like, what a strange.
The NFL is just a strange league. Like, you can't predict it. Every week it's different.
That's why the Giants. Why can't they beat Philadelphia with Tommy DeVito?
The Jets beat them with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Leonard's going to make it tonight. But I'm telling you, I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what it's going to take. We're going to get Tommy on the show, Matt.
At least his agent. At least his agent.
Yeah, right. He'll get his agent. Ask him about his suits, his hats, something. David, thanks so much for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. Brilly, my man. Hope you're having a wonderful December. Hope you guys are all getting ready for Santa to bring you whatever you want. Hope you're good boys and girls this year. Santa will bring you whatever you'd like. What a game of money for you guys. It was a hell of a game. It was a lot of fun. And David, what a hell of a turnaround for your Broncos.
Broncos are dangerous.
A team that blew a massive lead against Washington. A team that gave up 70 points to the Dolphins are now 7-6 and looking at a playoff spot.
And they're hot. They're hot.
Denver looked like one of the worst teams in the league at the beginning of the year.
Probably should have beat the Texans too. They probably should have like 6 or 7 straight wins or whatever it would be.
They should have beat Washington.
Yeah. So
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You don't know. Like I said, maybe the Giants are getting hot. Maybe the Giants are on a roll. Maybe that Christmas Day, maybe it is a Christmas miracle. Maybe they pull out the unfathomable when they go into Philadelphia as a 14.5-point underdog and squeak out a 19-17 win.
Yeah. I saw Amazing Guy said you guys should ask Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh's probably going to come on eventually. We did talk to him, and he was going to come on. I think it was 2 weeks ago, during the bye. Yeah, so I think it was 2 weeks ago, and his only availability was like 10 a.m. on like a Tuesday. So we work, so that couldn't happen. But it sounds like at some point Justin Pugh will be on the show.
Yeah, so we're working. Yeah. We're working on getting some guests, without question. Toasty, thank you for super chat. He says DeVito's actually 25. Wow, I didn't realize he was that old. Pretty old for a rookie. Yeah, I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was I just figured he was younger, but yeah, 25. I guess he was around for a while. He was in college he had to be in college for 5 years. I just assumed he was 20. I usually assume rookie quarterbacks are 22, 23, but 25. So he's not really a kid. He's a kid to me. I mean, I'm almost 50, so he's like half my age, but I didn't realize he was that old. I don't care how old he is. He's still young, and he's still kicking ass.
And Knicks Nation said, why are they playing 3 games on Saturday? They do that every year. Once
because college doesn't play.
Yeah, once college is done, they do that every year. They play for about 2 weeks. They play Saturday football in the NFL
because they don't have to worry about college football. Why they moved games to Monday on Christmas? That one I couldn't tell you. That one I don't like that. That keeps us from doing that game because I'm not streaming a game on Christmas. It's not happening. The Giants and Lakers. Well, it wouldn't matter. Lakers play at 5:00. I would always do the Giants over the Lakers. That's no question. But not doing a Christmas Day game. It's not happening. Thanksgiving is a different animal, but Christmas, no. Especially when I have a 6-year-old. I'm not missing the time with my son there. Tommy, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. He says the NFL might change the fumble though through the end zone rule and let the offense keep the ball. Don't agree. You fumble at the goal, you deserve to lose the ball. They shouldn't change that rule. I agree with you, Tommy. If you lose the ball out of the end zone, it should be a touchback the other way.
I talked about a rule. I want to get your take on this, Bad Dog. I don't know if I mentioned this to you on one of our prior shows. I don't think I did. I mentioned it on my last live stream. I think a rule change that needs to happen in the NFL, because I've seen it happen like 5 times this year, And I'm like, why don't they change that rule? They kick off now from the 35.
Yep.
After an extra point, I've seen it happen a few times where the team that's on defense gets called for an unnecessary roughness penalty. And what the penalty is on the kickoff, they just move it up to the 50, and the team takes the touchback anyway. There's no penalty. The team's going to start at the 25 either way. What I would do if I was the NFL would be you kick off from the 50, and if the team takes the touchback, they start at the 12 and a half. It's half the distance to the goal because there's no penalty.
Right.
So that's a thing that I just think common sense, that should be a rule change. Because there's no penalty the way it is right now.
Yeah, good point. Because now you can just fair catch the ball. It's not like you kick it to the 4-yard line and they have to run it back and they don't get good field position. So yeah, they can just go like this. They get to the 25. Yeah, that's a great point because it's only 25 yards difference.
You're going to start at the 25 either way. If there's no penalty or if there is a penalty, you're going to call for the fair catch 99% of the time.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Bob, before I forget, you pay the bills. Tonight's stream brought to you by, that's right, Body Armor Sport Water, baby. We all know it. You see it right above my head. Body Armor Sport. Tommy DeVito drinks Body Armor Sport Water. That's why he's kicking ass. I don't know if he does or he doesn't, but he probably does. It's a sport water with an alkaline water. Let me try that again. Body Armor Sport Water is an alkaline water, the pH 9 plus, and a proprietary electrolyte formula with a wide mouth for easier hydration. Body Armor Sport Water, built for all-day hydration for the athlete and all of us. And, of course, they do have zero sugar, which I have upstairs. And the zero sugar stuff is amazing. What was it? I had dragon fruit the other day. They got to make a Mamba Forever sugar-free. And then I'll be really happy. And speaking of football, of course, it's brought to you by mybookie.ag. You guys can bet on anything you want. I do mean anything. You can bet on college basketball, hockey, football, college football, baseball when it happens, whatever, NBA, whatever you want to bet on. You can bet on politics. You can bet on TV shows. I don't know how that works. But you can bet on anything. Literally, you can bet anything, anywhere, anytime in mybookie.ag. If you want to bet on mybookie.ag and open up an account, just make sure you use the promo code BADDOG and you enter your first deposit. And that way they'll give you all the way up to a $200 cash deposit bonus, depending on how much you deposit. And as always, please bet responsibly. Don't ever bet more than you can afford to lose. And if you do lose, don't sit there and try to bet to get your way out of the hole. That's not how that works. So just bet responsibly, but if you're going to bet, go to mybookie.ag. Peter, thank you for super chat. Saints have excellent defense. However, I heard Lattimore is not playing. It's big. I don't know if they have an excellent defense. It's not bad. I mean, I don't watch Saints football. Let's be honest.
They have a good defense.
They're like us.
Yeah.
All right. They got a good defense. Their offense is caca.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can say, this is one thing I can say. Okay. We know Tommy DeVito's mobile. We see him. He has 71 yards rushing against Green Bay. Right. And we know Derek Carr is not. We know Derek Carr cannot run. He is not mobile. So that dude is a sitting duck back there for Sexy Dexy. By the way, I think Dexter Lawrence is the highest rated. Again, take PFF with a grain of salt. I think he's the highest rated defensive player in the league this year.
Which is insane. Yeah, he's got like a 94 PFF grade.
And he's not top 10 in the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl's trash, guys. It's a joke.
Last year to teach that nothing. Well, the backup quarterback for the Ravens got elected last year. He threw 2 touchdowns all year. So yeah, it means nothing. Pro Bowl means nothing. But
the Pro Bowl means zero. It has meant nothing for 20 years.
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah. Dexter Lawrence will be a first-team All-Pro, and that does mean something. That does.
Dexter Lawrence at this point in time is undoubtedly one of the top 20 players in the NFL.
Easily.
And he's probably higher than that. Like he's
easily.
There are a few players that are better at their job on a football field than Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. And, Thibodeau's got 11 and a half sacks. Yeah. I can see him getting a couple sacks against Derek Carr without question.
You think about if the Giants ever drafted, and I'm not, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It all depends on where we're picking, and we will look a lot more at these prospects as the offseason gets underway. If the Giants ever drafted a first-round edge or a first-round defensive lineman and he panned out, dude, that defensive front could be insane. And the Eagles have been doing it for years. I mean, the Eagles draft first-round defensive linemen all the time. I'd be intrigued, depending on where we're picking, right? Because you got those 2 young pieces with Dex and Thibodeau You pair another elite potential player there. Like that's filthy, man.
I'm telling you, the guy. Again, I don't know what they were doing in the draft, but just assuming, I assume this guy will go early second. Okay, he may go first round. Again, the underwear Olympics means a lot, but I should look where he's projected to go. I'm guessing he's an early day 2 guy. Braylon Trice out of Washington.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, you had him. You had a Braylon Trice. You know, it's funny because I did a 4-round mock on Pro Football Network. Okay, I just do it and I put it on Twitter, and people are like, "Oh, you're not getting Jaden Daniels at 19." I'm like, "Listen, I work with what the simulator gives me. I don't think he's going to 19 either. But if I'm doing this, I took Rome Odunze. My goal was I'm going to pair up Odunze with Penix. That was what I was going to do. Okay, I traded back up. I traded 39.70 and next year's 2025 first round pick to get up to 19. Take Jaden Daniels. So that's why I didn't take Malik Neighbors. I didn't think Daniels would get there. In this mock, Daniels gets there. Penix goes 12th to the Saints. You don't know. And he said the same thing like Braylon Trice ain't going to get to 56, and he might not. But that was just the way it ended up being. I just draft would stare. The simulator is certainly not perfect.
We're not going
to do simulated drafts. How many simulated drafts do we do during draft week?
Way too many. But the truth of the matter is, you don't know where, especially now, you don't know where any of these guys are going. Like right now, a guy like I like him, so I'll just bring him up, and he's a quarterback. A guy like McCarthy, for example, I don't know where he's going in these mocks, but he might be going in the second round right now, for all I know. I haven't been looking at the mocks.
Right.
And if he has a good combine, because of the importance of his position, he could be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So these mocks right now mean zero to me. Yep. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to me right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. They really don't. We don't know where the hell we're picking either.
Yeah.
But for fun, I was
it's
like,
fun.
Let's see.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
That's all it was. It's fun. Get real. And then everybody else, then the other thing is like, whoa, this draft sucks. Where's the offensive lineman? I'm like, you do realize that there's more than 4 rounds. You do realize there's this thing called free agency. I'm all about taking guys that have proven they can play at this level as opposed to drafting a guy that don't pan out, because Lord knows how many linemen have we drafted that have not panned out? Many.
Way too many.
So to me, go out and get a vet. You have 35 to 40 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Go out and get a veteran that knows what the hell he's doing and can play at this level, and get your receiver and your quarterback, and then get your edge and your, another linebacker. That's the way I did that. So, I'm not GM. I'm just a guy on YouTube. That's it. Ricardo, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Baddog and Chris, I think, have comparable for DeVito, X49, Jeff Garcia, same body type and style.
I don't hate that.
I don't really remember Jeff. I mean, I know Jeff Garcia was a decent quarterback.
He was a very good quarterback for about 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Niners were a really good team when he was there.
Yeah, that's true. And a great system, But
I think he had Terrell Owens, right? He didn't get along with Terrell Owens. I'm pretty sure
he had Owens. Yeah, he had Rice. He had Rice too for a bit.
Yeah. So, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, that's not a horrible comparison though. Jeff Garcia had some mobility. He was a little bit undersized. I don't hate that. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I just don't remember enough about Jeff Garcia to compare him to DeVito. But so, but it very well could be. I don't remember enough about Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia was like a poor man's. I'm trying. Jeff Garcia's game reminded me a bit of Romo. Not as good as Romo, but similar type of quarterback. Like
right
in terms of his style. Yeah, I don't hate it. I could see DeVito being like a poor man's Jeff Garcia. I don't hate that, and hopefully becomes Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia was a good quarterback.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I would be happy with that. James, thank you for the super chat. He says, "I'm all in." Tommy Cutlets. Hey man,
let's go.
It's been fun.
Let's go.
No doubt about it. It has definitely been. It's been a fun ride. And hopefully it continues, because like I said, I always have fun calling the game with Chris anyway. 2021 was such a horrific disaster.
Yeah.
But it was so bad that we just laughed at the entire last 6. We knew we had no shot with Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon, and you really couldn't even feel the team that could compete with a college team. It was so bad. It's probably the worst football team I've ever seen. Was the 2021 Giants without Daniel Jones?
That was as bad as it gets.
Really bad. And we saw.
I think it was because you coupled a horrible coaching staff, with a horrible team. And trivia question for the chat, by the way. I just thought about it. Bad Dog's gonna know it, so don't answer for them.
Okay.
Who was the first quarterback that Eli Manning defeated in the playoffs? Trivia question. You guys will know it if you're Giants fans, but
yeah. W, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. 42-0.
That's insane. 42-0.
How did the Raiders beat us 30-6? They lose 3-0 at home, mind you. And now they're beating the Chargers 40-0. You know, my fantasy team ended. I'm just curious. I want to see what Josh Jacobs' stats are. 49-0 now. 49-0 with 10:42 to go in the third quarter.
That's crazy. And I see a lot of it. I see the chat got it. Most of the chat got it. Jeff Garcia was the answer. Jeff Garcia was the Bucs quarterback the year that Eli Manning won his first. I
forgot Herbert's done for the year.
Yeah. They're starting Easton Stick.
Yeah, it's not even Jacobs ain't doing anything. Aiden O'Connell's got 231 and 4 touchdowns. That's pretty crazy. Oh, Josh Jacobs ain't even playing, so it don't matter. My fantasy team was shot. Every one of my quarterbacks got hurt. 49-0.
That's crazy.
That's insane. At least we're not the Chargers.
Insane.
That is crazy. Toasty, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. What's the best Christmas gift you ever got as a kid? Mine was a Jeter jersey, but I just got my license plate, or I just got my license, and my parents are telling me wait to get a car, so maybe I get one for Christmas. Who knows? Wow, I didn't know you were a kid. How Toasty?
He got a car. He's not that young. He got a car.
But I mean, if you could be, he said he just got his license. He could be 16.
Yeah, I thought Toasty was older, just based off.
So did I, because of the trivia questions. Toasty, how old are you?
It's got to be 16, 17. I'm trying to think of my.
He might be 18, 19, but still.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my my favorite Christmas gift as a kid.
I can tell you mine.
Go ahead.
Without a doubt. Remember this like it was yesterday. Christmas 1986, Nintendo Entertainment System. Without a doubt.
I was obsessed with that as a kid, too.
That is still, to this day, probably the best Christmas gift I've ever received. I didn't know what to do. Now, at 10, I understood how Christmas worked. My sister, who was a little younger than me, didn't. But it said from Santa on the tag. So I just remember being, oh my God, Santa, we got it. I did, Chris. I know, but any of my presents after that. I don't remember what. I was like the third box. I remember it was like the third box, and like the third present I opened.
Yeah,
I went right upstairs and plugged that thing in. Well, I asked my parents. I was like, "Where are the games? Yeah. Did you get any game?" It came with Super Mario Brothers, which I didn't even know what Super Mario Brothers was. I
remember when I first got Nintendo. I think I got it for Christmas too. I don't remember. But when I first got Nintendo, I think that was the only game I had for like a year. Was just Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and that's all I played. And then, of course, I got more and more. But my favorite, I got Tecmo Bowl, I got Rocketeer.
Tecmo Bowl, yeah, I had them all. I had Commando. I still have that stuff.
Commando, I had, yeah. My favorite, I mean, that's certainly up there. I think that's up there for most people our age. You know, because when you were kids, that was a huge Christmas gift.
That was a huge deal for me. Yeah, I still love it. To me, it's still like when Ernie 8-Bit's in here, and he was in here tonight. I don't know if he's still here. So I always say that's the best gaming system ever. To me, I don't give a damn about the graphics. I mean, anybody see the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6? It's insane how real it looks. But give me Ninja Gaiden any day. Give me Castlevania and Mega Man any day.
I will say, all right, I'll go away from that. Might be my favorite too, but I'll go away from that. I'll go away from the gaming systems. I will go with when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Ghostbusters. Obsessed with the Ghostbusters. Not so much the movie, the cartoon, because I was young, right? And the two, and I was when I was a kid, I couldn't stop. I had the Trapper. I would always run around the house pretending I was catching ghosts, and I had the Ghostbusters Firehouse as like those were my two. It had the fire pole. I was obsessed with those two gifts as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, some good ones, man. I'm just thinking of like 80s toys. I remember it came out the same year as Ghostbusters. Now, you weren't even born when the original Ghostbusters came out. I was.
Yeah.
But I remember the same year, 1984, Gremlins came out. I was obsessed with Gremlins.
Epic movie.
I was obsessed with Gremlins. I had all the figures. I had the Gizmo, the Spike. I had the car. There was a little stuffed Gizmo that would squeak when you shook him up and down.
Yeah.
Just tons of Gremlin stuff. And the other one in 1984, Transformers. Man, I had so many Transformers. It was unbelievable. God, it's just 1984 was a great year, frankly. It was fantastic. I remember it well. You know, Chris, I was sitting around the Christmas tree. I used to wear a robe when I was young, and I used to pretend I was the Macho Man, and I would jump off the couch and I'd throw an elbow onto it like a pillow. It's crazy. I don't even know why the hell I said that, but
Bold sign too. I was obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I was Ghostbusters was my first love, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shortly thereafter. You were a little older than me, so was that in your bread and butter, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when it came out?
They were.
That got popular when I was like 6, so that was like
it was like 14. So it was a little. I mean, I remember watching the movie. I was never a huge fan of like the cartoon. I loved the game, even though it was hard as hell.
The game was hard as hell. You say that now. You say that the game was hard, and you're absolutely right. When I was a kid, I couldn't beat it.
The stupid part where you have to swim through the ocean and not those electric vines.
But what I'm going to tell you now, Bad Dog, I went to there's a place in the city. It's called Barcade, and basically it's exactly what it is. It's an arcade that's a bar. You go, it's like a regular bar, and there's arcade games. And I played the Ninja Turtles game when I went there like 2 years ago. I beat the game in like a half hour.
Oh, but that's the arcade game. I'm talking about the Nintendo one.
Isn't it the same one?
No. Well, maybe it is.
I think it's the same one. I think it was the same one.
I can tell you this. I still have it because I bought the Wii console years ago just so I could get the virtual console where you buy Nintendo games. They're $5 a piece. And I bought them all. I still have them all in there. And then I bought a little Nintendo system that actually plays games. It didn't have things like Section Z because the virtual console didn't have Section Z or Russian Attack. And I love those, or Wizards and Warriors or any of that stuff. Not to mention the virtual console. I get Sega games. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. But
that's my favorite, I think.
Sonic.
I love it.
The Ninja Turtles, that was tough. So I wasn't really like a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. I think I was kind of a little old for it. They came out about the same time the Simpsons did, and that never, same thing. I was like 14, just never appealed to me. I don't know why. It just never. I'm trying to think what the hell I watched in 1990. Like when
people asked me in the chat who my favorite turtle was. My favorite turtle was Michelangelo. And it was probably because he was goofy and he liked pizza. But they all like pizza.
They all like pizza?
Yeah, he was just the goofiest one. So that's probably why. But yeah, Michelangelo was my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, they were Italian. I mean, of course they love pizza. I mean, that's what they were.
Yeah.
I can tell you in the game, Raphael sucked. The Sai, it had no reach.
In the game, I always use Donatello, actually. I like the stick.
Yeah, well, Donatello had the big reach, and it had the most power.
Reach, exactly.
I liked Leonardo because of the sword. I just thought the sword was the coolest weapon.
Yeah.
Of all of them.
But I'm with you. Raphael, he could only get you if you were close.
Yeah, he was tired. I was like, this guy sucks. So I always used to laugh. When I would go down, when I was down to Raphael, I'm like, I lost. I can't win. There's no reach. The guys are literally on top of you. You can't kill him with Raphael. It was like, that sucked. Donatello on this.
I always use Donatello because of that. It was like a cheat code.
You think there's a Freudian thing about that? Are they trying to tell you something?
Maybe. Perhaps.
That was a great question, Toasty. That was a really good question.
Great question. And I see another, but Silly Parody says you watched In Living Color. I watched In Living Color.
Yes, In Living Color was definitely a big deal for me.
There was a lot of great comedians that came. Jim Carrey started on In Living Color. Of course, I think Martin was on In Living Color. It was kind of like
Wayans brothers were on.
Of course, the Wayans brothers.
Well, they invented In Living Color.
Yeah.
Whatever, they created it.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live, same thing. The best comedians came from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, without
question. Even back in the day, Chevy Chase, Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, they were all great. I mean, that was a thing. I'm trying to think of 1990. Like, what the hell? I had to be watching like Cosby Show, had to be popular. Who's the Boss? I always liked that because I loved Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
The hell else did I watch? Saved by the Bell. I think that was a 1990 thing.
Definitely.
90210 started, and I was a big 90210 guy, without question.
Baywatch.
And then what's that?
Baywatch.
I was never a big Baywatch guy.
I wasn't either until I became a pervert.
Well, I mean,
once I was like 13,
it's had to be years ago. Maybe my son was just born. Maybe Kevin was just born. I remember her go like binging Baywatch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you watching this? And she's like, I don't know. And I just was watching. I'm like, God, this is just so shitty. And I'm like, but I understand why it was so popular.
Slow motion.
Pam Anderson, Nicole Eggert, Alexa Paul, who I think was in Christine. I remember that.
That was
of course David Hasselhoff.
That was a show that definitely needed instant replay. There's no doubt about it.
You definitely can have instant replay now with all the technology. You can rewind as much as you want. Not to mention, all that show is missing was William Shatner.
Yes.
That was it. Anthony, thing we remember for 20, this is where it's gotten to with the Giants this year, talking about Christmas gifts and Baywatch. I'll be 70 on the 31st of December. Giants life. Wow. Well, happy early birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
70 years young. Wow. 70. I'm right around the corner from that. I only got about 20 years or so, and we're right there. 70 is a good number. God bless you, sir. God bless you. Anthony Lutz, he likes.
Of course.
David, thank you for the super chat. He says, what is the Giants contingency if DeVito gets hurt? We're just going right past that. But no. Tyrod Taylor's a backup.
I'm going to tell you what their contingency plan is. Whoever hurts him is probably going to get a call from his
probably got a pair of cement boots waiting for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not the game. Somebody, somebody's going to a couple of bats. And I'm not talking about the ones that fly in the air like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say, man, to an Italian guy, kneecap, that's a verb.
If Cam Jordan hurts him this week, he's going to wake up with a fish under his pillow.
Yeah, kneecap's not a noun in our language. It's a verb. Yeah. It's a verb. But yeah, it would be Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor was cleared to play. They chose DeVito over Tyrod Taylor. Toasty, thank you. He's 18. I waited a bit to take but still, you're still a teenager.
Yeah.
Like I always thought you were like in your 30s because of all the incredible trivia questions you come up with.
I thought the same thing. That's how I envisioned him. 30, 35. Even to be honest with you, I thought he was like maybe even like 50, 60 with all the trivia.
Yeah.
Because
there are it's a lot of good trivia questions from like back in the day. So
yeah.
I always appreciate somebody though that knows the history of the game and appreciates it because that's the way I am. Like I always love the history of all the sports I watch. Always. I'm a big history guy, so I love it stuff. Jake says Little Baddog needs a Giants jersey for Christmas. He really does. I just don't know who to get him.
Tommy DeVito.
I got him a Giants hat for Christmas.
Yeah.
You know what he likes? He's like me. You know what he likes a lot? Ralph Lauren stuff. My kid loves polo. He just loves Ralph Lauren.
He's got style.
He just loves. He likes to wear the same thing I do. And I always think it's cute because he's 6, so I can get away with he dresses like his dad. Now, when he's 13, and ain't gonna look so cute. But at 6, when we both wear, polo fleeces, or for Christmas Eve, we both have these nice black cable knit polo sweaters. I'm gonna wear those and match, and it's cool. Like even when he had his pre-K graduation, we both had a nice little light blue polo shirt, and we matched. And same thing when he had his graduation this year. We had the polo shorts and the little horse polo tank. I got that picture on Instagram, I think. But it's cute now. Like I said, when he gets older, I don't have any more years of this. Unfortunately, he is growing up really.
You got to enjoy it while you can.
And I am enjoying as much as I can. It's, which is why I do the Lakers. It's everybody's like, why do you do Lakers? It's because I want to see my kid.
Yeah.
Bob, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. He says 1982, an ABC camera truck with little men and a camera crew. And when my dad would watch the football games, I would drive up to the front of the TV, pretend I was broadcasting the game. Great memories. So that was your toy, I'm guessing, right? With the little man and the camera crew, my dad would watch the games. Well, Bob, you should have done what Chris and I do then. It's one of my favorite things about YouTube was not only being able to talk sports with, you guys and girls, and it's just amazing because when I started my YouTube channel, never envisioned it would be what it is. I never envisioned Chris and I would have this show for 6 years. And have the following we do. It's unbelievable, but it gave me the opportunity to live out my dream, which is doing play-by-play. That's really what it does. I do it in the comfort of my own home. I can do it with my own style, my own panache, my own flair. I don't need to be unbiased. I can say things like 420 crew, smoke them because you got them.
Smoke weed every day.
Can't do that on the air. I can do it here, though. So that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. I like that. 1982. I was alive in 82. Flock of Seagulls was a big deal in 1982. MTV.
Another. Not that I loved it, but I used to get them almost every Christmas. Another classic Christmas gift was the Hess truck.
Yes.
I got like 8 of those throughout my lifetime. I remember the last one I got. It was like a helicopter came with the truck or something like that. But the Hess truck. I probably got like 10 of those throughout my lifetime.
My mom, her second husband. He passed away a long time ago. Big Bill, I used to call him Big Bill because he was like 5'4".
Yeah.
And he weighed like 100 pounds. So I just called him Big Bill. Nicest guy. He would always buy my nephew because my nephew was really young at the time, maybe 3, 4. My nephew's like 26 now. It's insane. How old? My nephew's like almost 30. That's just stupid. Scott, I'm old. He used to get him a Lionel train. Like not a train, but like a car, like a Lionel. And he said to my mom, he goes, you never got, your son or daughter Lionel trains? She's like, no. He goes, oh my God. He goes, you deprived them. So no lie. The first year that he bought those, I played with that train. And my nephew, like I said, he might have been 4. So he wasn't going to play with the thing. He played with Blue's Clues was a big thing when my nephew was young.
Yeah.
Blue's Clues. And Barney, not
that
Barney.
Guy got arrested,
not
right?
Barney. Sorry, Teletubbies. Those were big in the early 2000s. I'm not bullshitting you. I played with that train 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm such a kid. When my kid gets toys, I'm there. I am there. When I'm in the Target or I'm in Walmart or wherever I'm shopping. If there's something that says try me, I'm trying it. I'll do this. I'll do that. Yep, I'm hitting this. And my wife will come around and think it's Kevin and it's me. And she's like, oh, it's you. Of course it's me. She's like, you're just a big kid. I'm like, after being with me for over 20 years, you don't know this? You know how I am. I can't help it. I'm a big child. What can I tell you? I'm a big child with grown up responsibilities. Christmas is a good time of year, man. It really is. It's just great for me. When Toasty asked that, that's really cool. Just because it did bring back a lot of memories, and being able to watch my son open stuff and get excited about stuff obviously reminds me of when I was.
What was the show that Toasty said in that super chat? That Cheers?
I missed it. I'm sorry. Let me go back to it. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Cheers was the best early 90s show by far. I wish I was alive. Cheers
There was a
actually
lot
started
of
in the early
good.
80s.
There was
The
a lot
early
of
80s.
good '90s shows. You had Friends, of course. Seinfeld, of course.
Greatest. Everybody loves Raymond.
Family Matters was huge. Fresh
Full
Prince of
House
Bel-Air.
is huge.
What was it?
Full House.
Full House, of course. Big. There's a lot of great '90s shows.
Those are the things that I watched. Melrose Place, 90210. 90210 was
what's the one? Married with Children.
Married with Children. That was one I was watching when I was 14. And it was really just for Christina Applegate, because every guy my age watched Married with Children for Christina Applegate. Although Al Bundy's one of the greatest characters in the history of television. And I can appreciate Al Bundy. I appreciated him much more as I got older. But God, when I'm 14, I'm looking at it for Christina and all her friends, because all her friends were smoking hot, of course. And even their shoe groupies that Al had were smoking hot. Every teenage guy was
crazy. We're talking about '90s television. It's crazy how television and Beavis and Butthead Wampak. Yeah, there's another one. Ren and Stimpy. But it's crazy how television
South Park, which is still going on.
Yes. But it shifted, right? Like it used to be, like now, like they have like shows are basically movies now. Like like when you see Breaking Bad or what, like it used to be just sitcoms. That's what ruled TV, and it's just evolved so much. More money now goes into TV shows than movies.
Like Walking Dead. Walking Dead's another one of those.
Yeah, so many. It's so many.
Breaking Bad was incredible. I can't believe it took me that long to. Can't believe it took me that long to watch it. Philly 500, man. I'll always love him for that. He kept saying, Baddog, when you watch Breaking Bad, I'll get to it. When you watch Breaking Bad, I'll get to it. When you watch Breaking Bad, I'll get to it. And the first scene, just the pants falling out of the sky. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I think by the middle of the second show, I was like, hooked. Binge.
Yeah.
So upset when it was over. I'm like, well, they should have had 3 more seasons of this.
You gotta watch Better Call Saul now, because that's the connection to
I know
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's just hard to find time to do anything, because everybody's always like, Baddog, how have you not watched The Sopranos? And now it's almost like I do it just to be defiant.
I have to rewatch this. I've seen it, but I have to rewatch it. I don't remember it nearly as well as I should.
L.A. Lou, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you. He says, 1977. We spent Christmas in Mexico at my Aunt Abuela's house. Hope I said that correctly. I'm in the 9th grade, just finished my first year on the JV team and earned my letter. Christmas Day, my present from my parents was my Letterman's jacket. Awesome. Yeah, because they didn't just give those away. You had to buy those. So awesome, that's a great present, man. I had to buy my own because that's why I ended up working a job. So my parents were like, "Yeah, you want to buy stuff? You're gonna buy it yourself." And I've been working since I was like 14, and this is why I have the work ethic I do, because my parents drilled that into me in an early age.
Yeah.
Different. I always talk about retirement, and I'm like, when I retire, I'll probably still work. It's just what I do. Although maybe by that time, I'll just be like, you know what, I've had it. Maybe when I'm Anthony Rotz's age, or Lou. Lou's got to be 60, right? Lou did turn 60 this year. That's right. Maybe turned 61, but he's in his early 60s.
Yeah.
By the time I'm, 15 years from now, when I'm that age or whatever, I'm just like, you know what? I've had enough of this. It's great. King John, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. He says, I love the Ninja Turtles to this day. Yeah, like I said, they were little. I think if I was 5 years younger, they probably would have been my go-to. But I think by 14, I was kind of just, like I said, I was more into.
That was more my generation than yours.
Yeah. 90210 and Saved by the Bell were like, I watched them because the characters were my age.
Yeah.
So I could relate to, not that the schools were anything like I went to. I wasn't going to West Beverly High, and I certainly wasn't going to Bayside, right? Where everything is just a joke. Like that. Those are so far-fetched from what school actually is. But the characters being high school students, I could relate to. And who didn't like looking at Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Berkley and Jenny Garth? Who didn't enjoy that? So, they had everything there. And 90210, they all had really cool cars and had great hair. And believe it or not, back in 1992, I had amazing hair. At one point, I really did. My hair was kick ass, boy. I could do that Jason Priestley, Luke Perry thing on my hair. Can't do it anymore. You know, Jamie Walters later on. I had that. I had that head of hair. And then genetics and Apopecia said, screw you, buddy. You don't got that no more. Officer Richie, thank you for the super chat. What up, fellas? How do y'all feel about our position going forward?
I'm assuming you mean like this year, like playoffs. If that's what you mean, Officer Richie. Listen, I for me to even start to think right now, I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm just having fun with what's going on right now with DeVito and trying to enjoy it. I'm not trying to set my expectations sky high. We still have a minuscule chance of making the playoffs. For me to start like legitimately think about the playoffs, they got to win their next two. You got to beat New Orleans and you got to beat the Eagles. If they beat the Eagles, then I'll be like, okay, this is real. Like we actually can make the playoffs now. They got to win their next two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
I'm still indifferent. You know, if they lose, it's a long shot to make the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
But the more they win, you know, Rich, I look at it like Chris and I were talking about it before the stream, and I believe during the beginning of this stream, if they are able to beat New Orleans and then somehow beat Philadelphia, if you are 7-8 with the Rams and then the Eagles at home,
coming off 5 straight wins,
you're feeling pretty good. If you can do something you haven't done in 11 years, which is going to Philadelphia and beat a really damn good football team, the defending NFC champion. Now, I know they're not as good as they were last year, but this team, we're not as good as Philadelphia. Let's be honest. But if the Giants go in there and find a way to win, you've beaten one of the best teams now in the NFL.
Yeah.
So you say there, you look at our championship runs, and I'm not saying that we'd ever have a chance at a championship. But in 2007, Giants weren't the best team, but they competed against the best teams. They gave the Patriots everything they wanted. 2011, they gave the undefeated Packers everything they wanted. They ended up beating them ultimately when it mattered most. And I'm not saying this team's going to do that.
Yeah.
But if you find a way to beat the Eagles, you as a team have to say, well, shit, this team that we have right now, not 7 weeks ago, but the team we're putting on the field right now, we can beat anybody out there. We can beat anybody in the game. If we can beat Philadelphia in Philadelphia, why can't we beat the Rams? Why can't we beat Philadelphia again?
Yeah.
Why can't we beat the Lions if we met them in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key game. I mean, the key game is this week first. You got to win this game. But if they win that Eagles game after beating the Saints, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe we can make the playoffs. Yeah. But before, I'm not setting those hopes or thoughts before that happens.
I'm definitely not either. And let's be honest. If we ever did win out, made the playoffs, our reward would be going to San Francisco and playing the Niners, which...
Well, no, they'd have the bye. We'd probably play the Eagles or the Cowboys if we beat the Eagles twice.
I thought only one team got the bye, no?
Yeah, I'm assuming it'll be the Niners.
Oh, true.
Because we'd have to beat the Eagles twice.
That's right. That's right. Well, then...
It would be the Cowboys. We'd be playing the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, it'd be a different team playing the Cowboys. Although the DeVito-led Giants got beat 49-17.
Yeah.
So I think the Cowboys and the Niners are hottest teams of football right now. Yeah. Janice, my lady, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. She says, in the late 70s, there was a film crew on my block making a movie. We all got to meet Jane Curtin from Saturday Night Live. She is so funny. Jane Curtin was in Coneheads. Was she one of the original Coneheads? Like she was in the movie because Dan Aykroyd was a Conehead and he was on Saturday Night Live. But that's pretty awesome. I wonder what movie.
I don't know who Jane Curtin is. That's before my time, but I don't know.
Yeah, she was. I never watched the movie Coneheads. I just remember the Coneheads skit on Saturday Night Live, and I know that Jane Curtin was in the movie. She's Dan Aykroyd's wife.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't really remember outside of that film. And again, I didn't watch a film. I just know she was in it. So I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever met an actor in my life. I don't think I've ever met an actor or actress in my life. I mean, sports figures, yes, but
I met. I'm trying to. I don't even count him, so I'm not even going to say him. I'm trying to. Like if you meet an actor at Comic-Con, does that count? I feel like that doesn't count. We're talking like
In person.
an in-person, unexpected. The craziest story I have in terms of meeting a celebrity, and it's only crazy because I met him 2 different times in 2 completely different places. Snoop Dogg. I met him when my mom worked for the government and she was away in Washington, D.C. training for like a month when I was a kid, when I was like 14. And it just so happened the week that I went up to visit her, the NBA All-Star game was there. And Snoop Dogg stayed in my hotel. And I went in the elevator to go up to the room, and he was in the elevator with me. And then about 15 years later, when I was maybe like 23, 24, I went on a family vacation, and we were coming back from, I forget where, I think Colorado, and he was on my flight. And he was sitting coach. He was like 4 rows back from where I was. So it's only crazy because I met him twice. But yeah, I met Snoop Dogg twice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen I saw a couple of play. Like I remember going to New Orleans, and Marcus Allen was on the plane. I remember he was like 4 rows in front of me. Now there was not like assigned seats there. I don't remember ever buying like tickets. I think you just got a ticket and you just first come first serve. And I just remember thinking, damn it, why didn't he sit next to me? Because I grew up in that era. So obviously I'm like, oh my God, that would have been awesome to I thought he was sitting with his wife. I just assumed it was his wife. And then next thing I saw her, that woman, I'm like, oh, Marcus Allen's got to be around here. She got like her baggage and got in a cab. So he must have just thought, oh, this woman's nice looking, so I'm just going to sit down next to her. Because he wasn't with her and he never got in a car with her. And that was so, but I remember that. But yeah, I've never met.
I'm thinking of other cool celebrity stories. I've met a decent amount. I used to be a valet for about 5 years when I was like 18 to like 22. And I worked at a hospital, parked cars at a hospital. And guy comes up in a nice BMW. And I open up his car door. It's all tinted so you can't see in the car. And he gets out, and I'm like, before he gets out, I pointed at him because I was just like in shock. I'm like, "You're Wally Zerbiak," and he's like, "Yep." it was just cool. But yeah, I parked Wally Zerbiak's car. So there's another celebrity story.
Nice.
Who now works for the Knicks, but he grew up on Long Island.
You must have had to move the seat way up.
Yes, I did. Yes,
yeah,
I did.
I figured. It
yes.
Yeah, like celebrities. The only celebrity I talked to one on Instagram, and he's not like a major celebrity. He was in Orange is the New Black, Ian Payola, because he's a Giants fan.
For sure.
And I talked to him a lot on Instagram, but I never met him. Now was it a couple of years ago where we were trying to go to a game? He's like, dude, just let me know about the tickets. I want to go up and meet you. I'll go to the game. And it fell through. So, but yeah, but I don't think I've ever ran into like an actor or a musician just out and about. And I live in upstate New York, so when the hell would I ever run into one of them?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
I also run into John Elway. I'm throwing names out there.
Chris is name dropping now. He's like Mike Francesa.
It's just random places. I think I was at like an ESPN zone, and he just happened to walk in and was filming a commercial about his Elway couches, I think it was at the time. And he was live on SportsCenter. He was sitting like 10 feet from me. So I shook his hand and said, but there's another one.
Oh, I told this before. John Cena. I met John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah, we were in Cross.
You told me the story. I remember this.
Yeah, we were in Crossgates Mall. They had a big event at Conley Center. These are the 2 big malls down in the Albany area. So, they're farther south of me. Saratoga Mall is definitely not what it was. Clifton Country Mall is no longer. A lot of them are gone. But Conley Center and Crossgates are still there. But my wife and I were in a pizzeria, Uno. And we're sitting next to like the hallway. There's you walk down the thing or whatever, and it's open. The tables are open. There's no windows. There's no nothing. And I see him, and I'm like, oh my God, that's John Cena. Like, he didn't hide it. He had all of his gear on.
Yeah.
His shirt, his belt. Well, yeah, he might not have had the belt, but he had the hat, the bands. He was not trying to be incognito, because this is when he was loyalty, hustle, respect, whatever it was. He wasn't the Doctor of Thugonomics anymore with the chain and the tank top when he was really good. This is all the colorful stuff. And my wife's like, he's coming in here. I'm like, no, he's not. She's like, yeah, he's coming in here. And he sat like at the bar, which was like literally, if I got up and just turned around, the bar was right there. So that's what I did. I just went up when we were leaving. I went up to him. I said, hey, excuse me, I don't want to bother you. I just want to say, you're the man, and have a kick-ass pay-per-view, because they were going to the Pepsi Arena, Knickerbocker Arena, Times Union Center, whatever the hell that's called in downtown Albany. It's had 6,000 different names. The Albany River Rats played there. The Albany Patroons played there. Phil Jackson coached the Albany Patroons. There's been a lot of stuff in that place. The Albany Firebirds, they can't hold a team anywhere in this area. But yeah, I just always remember John Cena was like the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life. I cannot explain to people how big that guy was. How big, not tall, like 6'2", not that that's short, but his back was freaking enormous, man. And I got big hands.
Yeah.
This dude's hand swallowed my hand when I shook it. I'm like, that. When we were leaving there, I told him, that is the biggest dude I have ever seen in my life. And I went to training camp all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody was built like John Cena. I've never seen anybody built like that guy in my life. Gigantic dude. Huge guy. Jacked out of his face. I mean, listen, if anybody watched wrestling back in the day, I know that it's all, when they slam the guys, they obviously help them up. But this dude literally picked up the Big Show like he was nothing. The Big Show was like 450, 500 pounds. And that's a human being. That's not squatting dead weight. That's picking up a freaking human and carrying him on your back. Cena was strongest. Brady, thank you for the super chat. Salute, brothers. I'm on Bacardi. We love it when you're on the Bacardi. But let's get the W for Tommy D now that we're talking about Christmas wishes. How can a Super G-Man fan and fan of both your channels become a guest on the show?
Hey, that's something we should do in the off season. We should do that every once in a while. Do a show where we have some people on, loyal subscribers. Come on. Yeah. I like that idea. We've tinkered with that idea in the past. People have brought it up. I think we should do that. I think we should have maybe a subscriber every other show or something like that. Have you guys come on for a half hour and talk with us. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. That's definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
Definitely something to look into, change up a little bit for sure. Lord Commander Manny, they were super chat. Tommy DeVito will become a legend if he beats Eagles twice. He's already a legend. He'll be an even bigger legend if he beats him once.
That would be incredible. That would be incredible.
Yeah. If Tommy DeVito ever ran the table here,
he's gonna be the starter next year, or he's gonna be in at the bare minimum quarterback competition.
Yeah, he'll have a billboard.
Yeah.
You see license plate guys, I don't know if it's him or whoever made that thing up, where it's this, and then this, the Y is his hand.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I don't think he made that, but yeah, I saw him post.
Yeah, I don't think he made that, but yeah. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like that. Ernie 8-Bit, there he is. Thank you for super chat. You lose into my room, 3,000 games from Atari to PS4. I had Atari 2600. I remember having Atari 2600 with the
4,000 games. That's wild.
Yeah, it is insane. That is crazy.
It's wild.
But you're right. I probably would. I mean, Nintendo. Well, ColecoVision was my first love. I didn't have a ColecoVision. My cousin did. He never let me play it. He used to piss me off all the time.
What the hell was a Coleco? I've never even heard of that.
ColecoVision. So it came after Atari, before Nintendo. It came out about 1983. They had joysticks that looked like telephones. They had numbers on the joysticks. They never used it for anything. The only reason I really loved ColecoVision was for playing Mr. Do. Like, Mr. Do was great. It was a great game. And the graphics were better than Atari 2600. So Atari combated the ColecoVision with Atari 5200, which most of the time the joysticks, I didn't have that either, but Atari made a 5200 and a 7800. And I don't know anybody that ever had either one of those systems, but my cousin had a ColecoVision. And television came out, I think, around the time Atari 2600 came out. I was alive for all this stuff. So old.
Let me go over the gaming systems I had. Obviously, Nintendo, Super NES, PlayStation, the original. What else? Sega Saturn. I didn't have Sega CD, but I remember Sega CD. Nintendo 64. Obviously, PlayStation 2, 3, 4. What else did we have? GameCube. And then you had what was the other one? What was the one that competed with GameCube right around the same time that I can't remember off the Dreamcast. Sega Dreamcast. I had that.
Did you have a TurboGrafx 16?
I did not. I remember they had the Sega 32X. It was like it was something that you plugged into the top of the Sega, and supposedly it made the graphics look a little bit better. I had that, but I never noticed much of a difference.
So don't ask me why this is hanging out here.
GameCube. There you go.
No idea why that's sitting there.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go.
My Nintendo GameCube. Is that got anything in here? Nope, no games in there. My GameCube got my little memory card in there.
I remember that. I probably have one around.
Hey, yeah, you mentioned. I'm like, I have one sitting right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't even mention Game Boy. Yeah. And then you also what was the Sega version of Game Boy? I had that too.
I don't remember.
There was a Sega Game Boy. Game Gear, I think it was called.
Yes, you're right.
Sega Game Gear. I had that. The difference was Game Boy was black and white. Game Gear was in color. It was basically the same thing, but Game Gear was in color. Yeah.
The amazing thing is, I didn't have that many gaming systems. Atari 2600, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, Sega Genesis, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Wii, and Xbox 360. That is it. The last gaming console I bought was a Nintendo Wii. And this is why when people are like, do you play Madden? Nope. I don't have a PS3, I don't have a PS4, I don't have a PS5. I don't have any of them. I don't play games anymore. Like I said, I played like the Nintendo games because you can beat them literally in 40 minutes. It's not a saga. It's just a game. I play Castlevania. I play it for 30 minutes and I beat it, or I play it for an hour and I don't beat it, but I'm done.
Yeah.
It's not like Grand Theft Auto or any of that stuff where it's a whole story. Yeah. So I do those, but because they're quick. But I don't do like seasons of Madden. I have Tecmo Super Bowl. That's the game. That's the one I play because it's the greatest one of all time. Toasty, thank you for super chat. My friend met Randy Moss at J. Timothy's in Connecticut.
That's a good one.
Nice.
That's a good one. I served Alicia Keys popcorn when I worked at a movie theater.
Nice.
That's also a true story. And I don't remember the guy's name. If you're a hockey expert, you probably know. The goaltender for the men's U.S. hockey team when they beat Russia, that team, he came in to see, because when I worked at the movie theater, that movie came out, Miracle. He came in to see the movie at my theater. I don't remember the guy's name, but whoever the goaltender was for that team, he came into my movie theater when I worked there.
So I didn't meet him, but when I was in Detroit, I remember being in a bar. I don't remember what the hell the name of the bar is. I went to Detroit. Jesus, it was part of the job I worked for at the time. It had to be 2000, 2001, somewhere in there, 2002. Is it somewhere in that area? 2002, 2003. I remember the bar started like I hear all this chattering, and I'm with the people that, the company I worked for at the time, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, oh, there's hockey players over there. And I don't really know hockey. Red Wings, obviously, very popular in Detroit.
Yeah.
But I turned around, I saw Brett Hull. I'm like, I know who he is.
Of course, yeah.
I know who Brett Hull is. But the funny thing is, nobody bothered him. Nobody bothered those guys at all. They just kind of left him alone. And they, somebody did go up to Brett Hull and ask for a picture, and he took the picture. And like, I remember one of the women that I was with, she's like, can you have him sign the napkin? And the woman was like, she, like the waitress said, we really don't, we don't do that. Because they want them to come back. They're probably big tippers. So they want them to come back. Oh, another guy, I didn't meet him, but I've told you this story. When I was at the Rays Yankees game years ago.
Yeah.
Greg the Hammer. No, Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Oh,
one of the nasty boys
at a Met game. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the nasty boys. I don't remember which one it was, but Greg the Hammer Valentine. And the thing that's so funny about it to me, I loved Greg the Hammer Valentine. So I say to my wife, I'm like, oh my God. I go, he was like 2 rows in front of me. Yeah. I'm like, that's Greg the Hammer Valentine. I'm like, oh my God, that's Greg the Hammer Valentine. And she says to me, literally, she goes, why do you have to make up nicknames for everybody? And I'm like, no, I'm like, that's really a wrestler from when I was growing up. And this guy next to me just kept going. And he was drunk. And he turned around and he would just go. It was hilarious. So I didn't get to meet him, but I did see Greg the Hammer Valentine.
You're a Yankee fan, so you might appreciate this one. When I worked at Ace Hardware for one summer, I used to deliver stuff to people's houses. I was the truck driver for Ace Hardware one summer when I was like 18, 19, coming home from college, maybe 20. And I pull up to the guy's house. I have no idea who it's going to be. And he's getting like summer furniture that I have to put together in his backyard. It's Joe Pepitone. I put together Joe Pepitone's summer furniture on his back lawn, former Yankees first baseman.
Nice. Did he have a hot comb? Did he offer you a hot comb? Because that was a big thing for Joe Pepitone.
I don't remember. No, but he talked to me for like a half hour. He was a cool guy.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
King, thank you for the super chat. He says, dude, I would have loved to have met Cena. Yeah, this was about the time that I started to get away from wrestling. It was probably 2006, I want to say, 2006, 2007. I started to I didn't watch as religiously as I did, but I knew who John Cena was, obviously, because when I did watch in 2003, when he came up, I remembered him. And I do remember Carlito was a big deal, and Chris Masters. And that was like the last time I really paid attention to wrestling, was that era right there. I was kind of, after that, I really haven't watched wrestling since. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was, because I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, well, that's not just some jobber that I just met, that. Oh, and of course, I think I've told you this. We were in Atlantic City for the National Car Show convention. Me and my buddy.
Yeah.
Walking down the where the hell did we stay in Atlantic City? It wasn't the Trump Plaza. It wasn't. We didn't go to the Trump Plaza, Chris. We didn't stay there.
Well, what do you got? You have Harrah's. You have what's the name of the first casino I ever stayed at when I went there? It was like a Western theme to it.
It wasn't Western. I remember that we went there to drink. That one with the white, but we didn't stay.
There was a New Orleans themed casino too.
I don't remember the name of it. Well, that was a hell of a weekend. There's a lot of that. There's a lot. But we were walking to the casino. We saw Ric Flair. We saw Ric Flair.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And he was walking with
you run into all the wrestlers, man.
I do. And we just were like, I remember it's the same thing. Like, I'm like, that's Ric Flair. And then I get closer, like, oh my God, it is Ric Flair. We're all like, woo! Like he's never heard that before. He's probably never Ric Flair's. Anybody that's ever met Ric Flair's, I probably never went woo to Ric Flair. But he did. It's funny. He just went woo, woo, woo as he went by. And I was like, we should have asked Ric Flair to go out and drink with us and hit a couple of gentlemen's clubs. He probably would have went.
This is going to bother me. Everybody's saying the casinos, but nobody said the one that I was thinking of with the New Orleans team. I was thinking of the Wild West. Yes, that was the first one. Yeah, Tropicana's a big one. Bailey's. But why does this bother me? Because it's the first casino I stayed at. It was a New Orleans themed casino. It was when, I don't think it's there anymore. I think they replaced it, but it's going to bother me. Somebody's going to say it, though. Somebody will say it.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Thank you for the super chat. There's Al Bundy. He says, I served Bill Sims at the country club I worked at when I was 18. My manager got me his autograph. He was a nice guy. Phil awesome. Seems like he'd be a nice guy.
Yeah. I remember I didn't meet him, but a guy I used to work with was a golf caddy, and he caddied for Eli Manning. And he said that Eli Manning tipped him $500 at the end of the round.
I'm sure he did.
I wish I got to caddy for Eli Manning.
You don't even need to tip me. But I mean, when Eli was I won't say I met him, but obviously
Showboat. He said it. That's it. That's the one. Showboat Casino. There you go. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. It was bothering me.
I really do not remember. Well, let me see. I'm not going to look that up now. I'll look it up another time because we got to get out of here. But Space Oddity, thank you for the super chat. 637 Raiders, probably. Well, yeah, I saw it's 63-14. It's insane. That is absolutely insane. What a freaking
63-7.
Insane.
That's worse than the 70 to 20.
It's 63-14 now.
Okay.
We bet the over. You did good. Well, listen, guys, girls, we're gonna get out of here. Really appreciate each and every one of you guys and girls hanging out with us tonight. Really sorry that Leonard didn't make it. You know, we were hoping
he'll be here in a week or two, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, like I said, he reaches out and we can figure out another time to do it. But so sorry that did not happen. But as always, do appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully the Giants, I mean, listen, I'm pulling for them to get a win against New Orleans and go to 6-8 and have that Philadelphia game mean something. If nothing else, I'd want that game to mean a lot. And we'll see if Tommy D can get it done. Brady, thank you for the super chat. He says, remember me, my brothers, I really want to join your channel as a guest. Think Bacardi and you have Brady. I'll be here on Sunday, brothers. You appreciate it, Brady.
Yeah, no, definitely something. I mean, definitely something we'll do in the offseason. Hopefully, we'll. Yeah, I like that idea.
It is a good idea. And Chris and I, we talked about this for at least last year, but we really got to make a concerted effort to do the baseball thing this year.
Yeah, we will do that. So
yeah, we got
the season, maybe like 2 weeks before the season starts or something. But I like that idea.
Definitely got to do that because you got a Mets guy and you got a Yankee guy, so it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Lord Commander Manny, thank you for the super chat. He says, I met LT in South Beach.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. I would like to meet LT.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like I said, no actors, wrestlers, and sports figures. I meet them, and that's about it. But
I don't think I've never met an actor either. I met singers and athletes. I don't think I've ever met an actor.
Chris, as always, thank you for coming on the channel, brother. Appreciate it. And any last words?
A lot of fun tonight. Obviously, winding down towards the end of the season, but always fun coming on here. Got to spend about half the show talking about anything but football. But hey, sometimes that's where it takes us. It was fun tonight. Appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to calling the game this week. Be on my channel on Sunday.
Yep.
So come on by. Hopefully the Giants get to 4 straight. Should be a lot of fun against New Orleans. And we'll see what we do throughout the rest of the year. But thank you to everybody, all you guys. Had fun, Baddog.
All right. For the Entertainment Talk Sports, it's the Bad D Disney. The rest of your night, everybody. We out.